Rank and Yank is a management philosophy originally promoted by General Electric CEO Jack Welch. He counseled that every year a company's entire workforce should be ranked, and the bottom 10% fired. "There's no way to sugarcoat this," says Welch. "Those in the bottom 10% may be doing fine on the job. It's just that others who could be hired may do better. And in the hope they will, workers who've done nothing wrong will be sacrificed." There are as many variations of the practice as there are proponents. One of the earliest advocates was Jeff Skilling.
Jeff had a very Darwinian view of how the world worked. He instituted a system known as the PRC, or Performance Review Committee. It required that people be graded from a 1 to a 5, and roughly 10% of people had to be a 5, and those people were supposed to be fired, hence this came to be known as rank and yank.
Other companies subsequently applying some form of the strategy include Amazon, AT&T, Goldman Sachs, and Microsoft. Rank and yank is most tangible for those who lose their jobs even while doing solid work. But the strategy is really aimed at the other end. It's not about eliminating those at the bottom, but maximizing the strength of those on top. The core idea is attributable to the economist Vilfredo Pareto and the engineer Joseph Huron. It's that generally, 80% of the effects result from 20% of the causes. This 80-20 rule translates directly into management doctrine. If most of what happens in a workplace is attributable to 20% of the workforce, then you better make sure that your top 20 is better than your competitors. In the end, the practice of rank and yank is about that 20%. It's not about firing people so much as opening space for new employees. And from each fresh group, the theory goes, some few may rise up and contribute at the critical, highest level. Finally, for those who get there, the compensation won't only be serious money. It will also be the opportunity to lead significant projects, and direct other, very capable people. Here's what the 80-20 rule looks like on the ground, at Amazon.
But again, if you look at Silicon Valley and how competitive it is, good programmers, good talent is really hard to come by. Every tech executive that I speak to, from a startup to the really established companies, say talent is our biggest problem. We have talent wars. We have people willing to pay extremes amount of money because there's a scarcity there, right?
In terms of managers, here are the ethics. Against rank and yank, the basic argument is that managers are failing their duty of fidelity. That is, the employer and employee have entered into a work agreement. The employee is fulfilling his, or her side. So, the company should continue fulfilling its side correspondingly. At bottom, the reasoning here is that the employer-employee relationship is human, before it's economic. Therefore the guiding rules ought to concern people, their handshakes, dignity, and commitments to each other, not business competition and bottom lines. A distinct case against rank and yank begins from the premise that it impedes collaboration, and consequently hinders productivity. Because employees look at each other with suspicion and dread, the company suffers. This is an economic reason to avoid rank and yank, but not yet an ethical one. To add the ethical element, add the following reasoning. By cashing their paycheck, managers commit to helping their enterprise succeed economically. But, those who use rank and yank betray that commitment. On the other side of the debate, management may depart from the same ethical principle, but go in the opposite direction. The first step is the duty to fulfill promises. Next, by accepting a paycheck, managers essentially promise to promote the business, and maximize shareholder profits. Now, if rank and yank really does foster a stronger top 20% of the workforce, and if that 20% really does create 80% of the results, then managers who don't implement the practice will themselves be culled. Ethically, there won't be any choice because they've failed to honor their original and overriding commitment to the organization's welfare. A distinct ethical justification for rank and yank starts from the principle that we all have a duty to help others develop their talents and abilities. The additional premise is that rank and yank stimulates people's strengths. Employees flourish when success is significantly rewarded, failure is not tolerated, and competition is intense. One Amazon employee quoted in the New York Times articulates the idea this way. Conflict, he asserts, brings innovation. If that's right, then rank and yank is not an option, it's an ethical obligation because managers are like everyone else in the sense that they are obligated to help others thrive. At bottom, the reasoning here is that the employer-employee relationship is human, before it's economic. Therefore the guiding rules ought to concern people and how they flourish, not bottom lines or shareholder profits.